Hello, BodySlams podcast viewers. And I'm one of your analysts, Chio Frost. And welcome to another episode of Breakfast and Body Slams. But, I'm not alone as always. But right now I got a special co-host with me, as you can see sitting right here. It is Eagles game day for me since I am a Eagles fan. And I got Baby Yoda, aka Grogu, aka Junior, my kid. See, we look alike. The resemblance. So, but without any further ado, those other sports fans out there who the sport of pro wrestling, because football and everything else is fake out there, as my man told me just minutes ago before we went on the air. Let's bring him in the room, and he is that Image guy, Joey Image. What's up, brother?
What's going on, man? How are you, dude?
Yeah, I'm trying to wrap my head around the whole football is fake and
that's old news.
It's a real big work because they don't use steel chairs or anything like that.
Right, that's exactly correct. I mean, it's old news that's a work. I mean, come on, everyone knows that.
Yeah, I was going through Twitter today in the morning time, and I got to give it up to you, Joseph. That's right. I like calling you Joseph.
What I do? I noticed that. That's pretty funny.
Joseph,
what did I do?
Mr. AARP. I gotta give it up because you being the fatherly figure that you are, you ended up was it 4 o'clock in the morning hugging up with Buddy there.
Oh God, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he yells and he whines or whatever when he's got to get out and go pee in the morning or whatever. But we usually put him to bed around 10, so by like 3:30, 4 o'clock, he's got to get up and go to the bathroom. So I let him up. But man, last night and the night before, I let him out to like go do what he's got to do, and then I sit on the couch, and before I'm even able to get up, he hops up and lays right either on me or right next to me. And I don't want to disturb him because I feel bad. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'm just going to sleep on the couch the rest of the night. So last night and the night before, Friday night and Saturday night, I slept on the couch with the dog.
And there's nothing wrong with that at all.
No, not at all. Last night, he didn't even let me lay down. At least Friday night, I got to lay down first. And he just kind of laid in between my legs. Last night, I just sat down and grabbed the TV remote because I figured he's gonna go back to sleep in 10, 15 minutes. I'll put him back in his crate. It'll be good. But man, I sat down and grabbed the remote, turned around, and he was already sitting there with his head resting on my thigh. So I'm like, man, I can't wake him up now, and I feel bad. So I slept there last night too.
All right. And let's bring in one of our other analysts. He is the Better Bernard, the Saint Bernard. He will give us our fans' perspective in this topic today, and he will ask us the hard-hitting questions as journalists know how to do. He is Mikey.
Hey, everyone. That's right, the Better Bernard. Got that right.
What up, Michael?
What's going on, fellas?
You're actually looking pretty well awake today compared to the last time we were on there. You were like half dead. Sorry if I'm looking down at my phone, gentlemen. I am sharing this out
until Rhea Ripley showed up, then I livened up.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Yeah, like I said, I apologize for me looking down here at my phone. I am currently sharing the show out to other pages and groups out there. So they will
do the same thing.
For the ones that don't know if we're live right now. So I'm just putting it out there for them. But we got one more gentleman that needs to come in the room, and he is a Baltimore Ravens fan, and he's all decked out right now. He is the bearded Raven, not Angel, the bearded Raven, Mr. Dennis Reaper.
What's up, guys?
Hey.
Bearded Raven. I just told Nina, I go, now I gotta make the logo now for it. I gotta have it. The bearded Raven.
So it'd be a raven with a beard?
No, it'll probably be me wearing a hat with the Ravens logo on it.
No, but I because I thought it'd be a raven with a beard hanging off of it.
It could be. It could
wearing a Dennis Reaper hat.
Like Raven's flock?
Like, I don't know if I should wear that hat or this hat. Or if I should wear one of the two, towels they gave out last Sunday. That I got 3 sets of.
Oh, yeah, they were giving out towels.
Well, I beat the system.
Oh.
It was one per person, but they weren't paying attention. They had like 12 ladies giving out towels, so I convinced Nina to let's do this multiple times.
So you went in different lines.
Well, it wasn't really a line. It was like everybody crowded up to these ladies, and I was like, I need a Raw one. I need a SmackDown one. We moved about 4 ladies down. I need a Raw one. She's like, I need a SmackDown one. I beat the system.
Well, that there reminded me of me going out during Halloween the one year. Me and my buddies as kids, we went trick-or-treated, came back, switched costumes, went back out again. So, I see what you're doing there. Yeah, it worked.
Oh, it worked 100%. I loved every little second of it.
All right, gentlemen, today's topic is the life of a pro wrestler in and out. Unfortunately, Mikey does not really know much about this besides having Frizzo as his brother. But he will, but since Mikey's pretty much on the other side of the barrier, and besides whoever chimes in,
you can say the word Mizark.
Yeah, he's the Mizark.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. I never heard that word a million times.
Yeah. So you and
Mikey, let me swallow first.
Mikey and his brother Mizark Frizzo. They can
oh my god.
Whoever is going to be in the chat room can chime in with questions. Mikey can chime in with questions of his own that maybe his brother did not answer at all. So apparently the crybaby's telling us to stop.
Just so you know, Regal Entertainment has flagged us.
Wait, who?
What?
Regal Entertainment Incorporated, because it contains 31 seconds of content that is owned by them. So the opening video is owned by them.
Wait, we talking about the countdown?
Yep.
How is that when it's off? It
says there are changes to your video because of a copyright match.
Okay, well that's
it says your video is made unavailable by the rights owner now.
Well, we'll figure that out.
What on YouTube?
I don't even know. Regal Entertainment's just flagging it on Facebook.
I don't even know who they are.
Well,
it's the audio. It is technically a Regal audio.
What, that countdown sound?
Yeah.
Well, that's fine. You know, I don't care if the audio
for the countdown. Yeah, as long as you can see the numbers.
Yeah. It's like, but yeah, whatever. It is what it is.
Well,
but anyway,
if they mute you for your sound, they mute your entire show.
Well,
no, I thought they only mute the copyrighted part, like YouTube. YouTube will only mute the copyrighted part. You can change it too if you want.
All right. Well,
welcome to post-production.
Yeah. So we'll worry about that later on after the show. But without further ado, shout out to all of our Devereaux Sports podcast teams out there: the Sullivan Squad, the Old School Show, the Combat Misfits, us on with Thursday Night Slams bi-weekly, the Scrapper Boys who are on hiatus, the Gobbler Inc., and let's not forget about the Pop-Up Plate Bombs, and our man Austin has been putting out recently his soccer, I don't even know if they have a name for the show yet, his soccer format with the Philadelphia Unions podcast.
Call it the Ball Kickers. I don't
know. And to keep this thing moving, shout out to our affiliates, the guys at the Tornado Tag Podcast, the 2300 Wrestling Podcast, Bob Culture Podcast, Backstabbers Wrestling Podcast, and all the way from Puerto Rico, Mikey, you want to do this one?
Conversación de Lucha Libre?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes. And you can search and you can search for all of them on Google. You can find them all on different platforms to listen to, whether you're on the go, Spotify, Apple iTunes, all that happy stuff. But yeah, don't forget to check us out on BodySlamsPodcast.com. And you can see all of our links and stuff where you can follow us, like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification button. And while we're at it, let's kick this things off and jump into the life of a pro wrestler. Dennis or Joey, do you guys want to kick off with this? Like starting off like as far as what's some of the misconceptions when guys are looking to be a pro wrestler, or if they were a longtime fan, when they're looking for a school, what's some of the misconceptions that gets thrown at them?
It doesn't hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't hurt, or they're gonna make it to TV because they promised me I'll wrestle for WWE or AEW or Impact, and now there we go. I can see my face again.
Yeah.
What else is there?
I think it doesn't hurt is one of the biggest ones to me. And so when I was trained, our trainer told us almost every session, the reality. Oh no, sorry. The dream is you're gonna main event WrestleMania one day, but the reality is you're not even gonna get out of New Jersey. And that was at the time we all thought that was like kind of shitty to say, or that's kind of harsh. But man, by the time we were done with the training, we understood exactly what that meant and why we were taught that. And boy, was that the truth.
Yeah. Like, honestly, that is 100%. That's exactly how it was with Mark Mess and Troy Mess and them.
I love those guys.
You could be in here 5 days a week and be doing everything you want and learning everything you can. Doesn't mean shit. You're not on the radar of WWE. Vince McMahon is not scoping your face all the time. MySpace, they weren't watching your videos. You had to send them this stuff. That's when they started watching it. They go, unless you put the work in, you ain't going anywhere.
Right.
Like, hey,
and
I'd rather you be honest with me, because before I moved up here, I already got told that by Impact people. Like, we're not going to look for your stuff. You have to get it to us.
Right.
Yeah, me, unfortunately, before I was getting into it before MySpace at the age of 15, and they didn't feed me the whole thing. Oh yeah, you're gonna you come train with us, you're gonna be a superstar, you're gonna go WWE. It was back when it was still like the internet was there, but it wasn't there. It was like the beginning process, so there was no real social media, anything like that. So, first time seeing an indie show, I'm like, it's just the oohs and ahs of seeing a ring in person, not going to a WWE event, but going to an indie show, and you see, and you're able to walk up, touch the ring, and these indie wrestlers now, when you look back at them now, it was like, hey, this guy could have been my mechanic. He could have been the janitor at my school.
He probably was at one point.
Yeah, probably. But at the time when I'm looking at them, I'm like, oh, wow, these guys are stars. They're walking. They got these spandex outfits. They got boots. They're in the ring. We're all of our eyes are on them. So it's like they are the stars. Like, holy shit, I'm like, cool. I want to be just like these guys. These guys are just like the guys on TV. So yeah, I can see myself going that route. But like I said, everything that glitters isn't gold, and that was the facade that me at my mindset was being fed, that these guys on this low indie show was larger than life. And like holy shit. So that there was my first misconception that okay, you go to indie show, you see these guys, and wow, they're superstars, which basically they're the guys working at the 7-Eleven I'm going to get gas to after the show. They just happen to come in quick, do their job or work whatever they're scheduled to do in the ring that night, and they probably have to I gotta head out to work real quick and head right back to work sometimes, and then you're there at the gas station or the Getty Mart, and they're selling you your scratch off ticket. Like, hold up, did I just see you? And the misconception is like, nah. like, nah, that's not me. You got me confused with somebody else. So it's like it was that little bit of facade right there of the eye-opening world of when you first get a part of
So
it.
I have a question for you guys. We can clear this up for the fans. So you guys have all done the work in the ring, but like after your first experience actually being in the ring and like after the first week, what was it like? Because everybody says it's fake, but your body does take a pounding. How much of a pounding did your bodies take after that
I was dead. I
week?
felt like I was dead after the first. So our training was 5 to 6 days a week. We had 5 days a week scheduled. The 6th was Sunday, which was optional. The trainer was there all day doing paperwork and stuff. But if somebody wanted to come down and train, he left the ring open. So I was down there 6 days a week, and man, I can tell you after the first week, I thought I was dead. I had welts on my back. People think running the ropes doesn't hurt. Like, just it looks so simple on TV. People think that doesn't hurt. That's steel cable, man. I mean, you whip that across your back, and you're running at it at full speed, and you're hitting it coming off, and then hitting the other side again. Dude, that shit leaves welts, man. I mean, there's Rob Van Dam has posted pictures somewhere. I saw this recently, actually, of somebody, I don't know, tweeted him or something like that was interested in getting involved and was asking, like, can you recommend any good trainers or whatever? And he was like, before you even get started, I just want to make you aware that this is what it feels like. And that was one of the pictures of his back with all these welts. I'm like, dude, that's exactly what it felt like, and that's what it looked like. And I was like, dude, and man, it's insane. It's just. I knew I wanted to go back. I never thought of quitting or anything like that, but it was a lot tougher than I expected it to be. I mean, I wasn't one of these guys that thought like, "Oh, this doesn't hurt. This is just ballet." Blah blah blah. I was not smart to the business, but I was smart in this fact that I had common sense. Like, it doesn't matter what the. I know the ring is. I had been to a couple of indie shows before I started training, so I knew the ring was solid plywood or whatever, solid wood. So, solid boards with the canvas over it. So I was like, dude, this is not like you're landing on a pillow, man. Like, it's obviously gonna hurt. But a lot of people don't think that, and it hurts. I think
Right.
it hurts the most, of course, right in the beginning. Once your body gets conditioned to like used to taking those falls, and taking those hits, and taking those ropes, then it's kind of a little bit easier. But it still hurts, man.
No, it definitely does. Like, I'll say this: the first 3 weeks of training, I couldn't feel my back or my body. I'll say that. Like, I mean, I got home the next day, and I worked in a gym, so that was even the worst part because I had to work out later that day. So like, I'd get home at like 11:30, go to bed, be at the gym by 5:30 to work, get done work out, and then go back to school. When I say I couldn't feel my thighs and my lower back, and I had bruises, and I mean welts and blood, I had every little aspect you could possibly think of because I trained hard. I didn't train like I didn't have. I'll say it this way: people can take offense all they want because they cry about it. I'm not these little half-ass crybabies these days. Oh my god, I can't train because I'm hurt. Screw you. Get out of sports. And this is for every sport. I didn't have that. It was the be ready for Mark Mess would be like, be ready to be picked up. Okay. I get in his truck. We drive to the school. We'd stop for food first because we were always hungry. I was always hungry. I can't help it. I still on this day. I can eat all day long if I wanted to. And we get to the school. We'd eat our food. I'd get my stretches out. I'd get my calisthenics done. And then as soon as everybody showed up, I was already warming up. Like, I was running the ropes. I was doing my rolls. I was doing my bumps. Like, I didn't play around. I wanted to go. Dude, we would train. We would do drills for probably about an hour and a half. And the next would be 4 corners. Like, I know, Mikey, you've never heard of these guys, but I had, and I know every one of us are going to hear these names. I've had Johnny Greco. We had Eddie Valentine. We had Ed House, Jason Havoc, a gentleman named Zach. We had all these guys that's coming up to school to train. So when I say 4 corners, you had 2 guys per corner with 2 in the ring. And you just wrestled until you didn't want to wrestle no more. And I mean, this was 2-3 hours worth of wrestling.
That's a lot of training.
Oh yeah.
So when I say your training was drills for a bit and then actual wrestling, it was legit wrestling.
Oh
like,
yeah.
I learned on the fly, and that's how I got good and better. It wasn't these drills. You could do drills all day long. in professional wrestling, and they're great. But you get better from actually doing them in a match.
Actual experience.
When the people trust you, they let you do it. Okay. When they don't trust you, they go, no.
That's understandable.
Do what you know.
Yeah, I've been there before.
Right.
Yeah.
Like my first time doing 4 corners, I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. They go, do what you trained. Okay. So I was doing strikes for 3 hours.
Yeah, that's it.
Like,
you can only do what you know.
Like I did hip tosses and body slams, but it was like I worked on my strikes. That's why my kicks and my punches are as solid as possible, because for 3 hours, for 4 months, that's what I worked on in matches. But when I tell you, when people say wrestling's fake, and I go, yeah, right, come to the school. I tell them they don't.
They never want to show up.
I've had one person show up. They've made it 30 minutes. 30 minutes, and they had to pay me money.
And then said, see ya.
My thing was, I bet them our paycheck that they couldn't last an hour. They said,
wow,
I'm in the best shape of my life. I could do anything. I'm an athlete. I'm like, okay, let's go.
and we planned out real fast.
And we both cashed our paychecks. We got to the school. The money was on the table. And that was it. Like 30 minutes later, they were done. They go, I can't do this. And this was just from learning how to bump and run ropes.
That's another thing, man. There's a lot of dreamers, like Dennis is talking about. There's a lot of dreamers that come in like, I can do this. This is easy. I see it on TV. Oh yeah, you see brain surgery on TV too. Can you do that, you moron? Like,
yeah.
What? Like I watch. I can't stand the marks that are like, oh, I see this on TV every week. I know what I'm doing. Oh yeah, or the ones that think like, oh, I know how this works. That's the best one. I know how this works. I watch House. I've seen all 8 seasons of House. Are you gonna let me perform brain surgery on you? Because if so, then you're a fucking moron.
Oh, yeah, I trust you.
That's the same kind of attitude that those marks have. That think that you know they know how it works. Because
and this is in any sport. Like, look, we're all sports fans, right? We can all sit here on our couch and disagree with what our sports teams are doing. Like, dear John, please fire our offensive coordinator. That's what I hear a lot of. And it's like, look, no matter what we do as a fan, we can bitch and moan all we want. Wrestling fans do the same. But it's when they go over that line. Like, you can tell us that you don't think we're doing good. I will accept that with all due. I love y'all for it. But don't tell me you can do my job. Like, is that coffee?
I'm trying to grab this donut right here. What the hell? I just saw it show up next to my head.
Yeah, I was just throwing that up there. Yeah. For me, gentlemen, I'm a little different than you guys. I think the worst for me was the cardio and all the calisthenics that we had to do. The bumping came easy for me because, like I mentioned before in past episodes, before I even started, I was one of those backyard wrestlers and stuff like that, and we were and we were out there bumping on the hard ass like fucking grass, concrete, that type of bullshit. So me bumping in the ring was nothing. And then when I was hitting ropes, the worst, like the ropes didn't bother me. I did get the markings because we were in with the real ropes, not cables. So I was dealing with the bull rope. So like I said, the worst thing for me was the whole working out calisthenics. I thought I was in shape because I was young. I ran a lot. So I had good cardio at the time. But then when you're constantly doing those drills up and down, up and down, up and down, move, those short bursts of stuff, that's what got me. And then when I went and trained up with Pops up at the Wild Samoan Training Center for the first time.
I love that guy.
The next day, I literally woke up and I was crawling on my hands and knees through that from the second floor to the first floor, back up to the second floor, because my legs would not work because all the squats we were doing.
Oh,
I was
God.
like, what the hell?
Hindu squats, 500 Hindu squats every time we started. Holy Christ.
Because back then when I started, okay, we had a bunch of guys who were, in shape and stuff, but at the same time, the guys I started training with, they wasn't those guys who could really go like the guys who are like, like Pops's kids are all going like WWE tryouts and this and that. Those guys are already fine-tuned. They're going those guys are going to the show and just doing their thing. So But yeah, so that there for me wasn't too bad. So sorry, I'm just looking at the chat room real quick
It's
here.
on. Which one? Yeah,
yeah.
mine's private.
I got you. So yeah, so moving forward, so then everybody, they're going through the training school. One of the worst things you gotta do, these kids gotta look at the schools first where they're going at. Nowadays that is.
Yeah.
Compared to what we had, we were very limited on schools. Nowadays, you got schools popping up out the ass, out the wazoo.
Everyone's got some
all
kind of
over the place.
So, and then everyone wants to you're going to look at either you're paying a nice high price or someone's lowballing the price just to get students in. But then you got to look at the school's reputation. What kind of facilities are they putting out people like not to anything else, but like guys like the I see another camera view. Like the guys at the Wild Samoan Training Center. Okay, they have the reputation, they have the name, they're gonna charge more. If you're going to Bob's Pro Wrestling School down the street or whatever. I think he switched over here. Let me just.
Yeah, sorry. I have a 12 p.m. range tide with my girlfriend's dad, and I won't lie, I kind of forgot that we had a podcast today a little bit because it would have been the day I got my daughter. But
okay, so
I'm gonna be driving. No. I'm gonna be driving in on this. I'm not getting off this. This is a great show. This is a great episode. What you talking about, Will?
So anyway, you can go to like Bob or Sparky's or whatever Pro
Bob
Wrestling
or
Training Center.
Sparky's.
Whatever they want to call
like
themselves.
You picked the two names that Bob Holly used in WWF.
Right. I didn't even think about it until after I started.
Bob Holly and Sparky Fly.
Oh my God. Bob Holly, please don't kill Gio for that because I know Sparky wasn't your favorite.
I know.
Don't kill him.
Me and my uncle, we used to pick stupid names for like characters on WWE, like when Sparky Plug was teaming with the 1-2-3 Kid.
Yeah.
We used to call him Bob Hit the Wall Holly and the 911 Kid. So
damn,
the 911 Kid is hilarious.
Yeah. So but yeah, you're gonna walk into a school. Some schools put out great talent. They may not look the greatest, and sometimes they work with you on a budget because they know what the world's going through and what people do in everyday life where you struggle to pay the bills and this and that.
Yeah.
But like I said, do your research before you get into a school. You want to find out, are these guys scam artists? Who have they really help train? Is there
and who are they? Not only who do they help train, but who trained them and what have they done? Like a big dream of mine has always been to start my own training center. But out of respect to the business, I would never do that because I've never been anywhere. I haven't been anywhere beyond the Indies. So how am I going to train you to make it to WWE if I've never done it? You know what I mean? So out of respect for the business, I'm willing to let that dream go aside and not do it because again, it's got to be. I mean, I didn't know that when I started. I went to a school that's walking distance from where I live. I didn't live here at the time, but now I do with my wife. But that turned out great because my trainer was a great trainer. He'd only been in about 4 or 5 years when he started the school, but since then, he had already worked for WWE a bunch of times doing dark matches and TV commercials. There was a big Royal Rumble commercial that was like football based. Him and a bunch of his current students were in that commercial.
So he had great credentials behind his name.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I kind of really don't, other than the independents. I mean, I've worked all over the place, but I've only worked indies. I've never worked above that level. Yeah. So why would I ask you to pay me $1,000 to train you? And then I'm supposed to convince you that I'm going to train you to do stuff that I didn't do. So I don't know if that makes sense to some other workers are telling me like, if that's your dream, just do it, man. Like I get that.
I can see me doing it. I can see me open up a school as the ground level to help them get their feet wet.
Yeah, so that's a good idea. Actually,
in case they don't have the access or the funds to get to that next level of school, let them get their feet wet. Also, I mentioned I also want to do for school wise for like an after school program where there are high school kids who have that dream, that aspiration, and they don't know anything about it. Well, they can come here and they can learn about it before they actually, and they can get like we're doing now, like how we are in this discussion about what to look for, this and that.
Yeah.
Basically, it could be like a training course to get to a better school.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah,
And then if you really want to go the extra mile, you could partner with another school, maybe split tuition, or you get a portion of it or something like that. And like I'll do all the beginner stuff, and then the students will graduate onto this other training center run by fucking who knows, Hulk Hogan, whatever.
It's like being a community college.
Like that would be like your finishing school and your finishing training.
Yeah,
but what
exactly, community college.
You can add to it though. You can add to it. You don't even just have to do wrestling stuff. So the thing that some schools are missing is the behind the scenes stuff. You might have people that want to do the commentating. You might have people wanting to do the production stuff. So if you with Chio's idea, you can add all that.
If I ever had a training center, that stuff would all be included. Commentary, managing, video production, video editing, sound engineering, cameraman, everything
that is the whole idea.
Everything that goes into it.
Right. I don't care if I need 2 hours to show you how to sit there and take tickets and count the money. Anything that any promotions promotions event might need. And you know what? Who knows? Maybe you're there and you only know how to wrestle and do commentary, and they're like, oh, we can't use you. We have all that, but the ticket seller guy didn't show up. Oh, all right. Well, then there's a spot you could have had right there. Even though, I mean, it sounds simple, but you know, any spot any job that can be done by a person should be trained.
Yes. And I know, Gio, that's what you're talking about. I know that's what you're talking.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying is your idea is literally the same idea that we could all get behind, because everybody that wants to learn something is going to benefit from it. It's not, anything wrong with your idea is a great idea, because you're going to give kids the opportunity. Like you said about the whole budgeting and stuff. Like, look, Mark Mest and Troy Mest, they didn't have to take, like, Captain Rick is the one that got me in the door there. God damn.
Oh, I love that guy too.
Captain Rick's the one that got me in the door. I will say that until the day I die. Like, if there wasn't,
he had a show. No. So he used to have a friend named Virus or something like that. The War Mask. I think he knew the guy.
Weird, evil son of a bitch.
Yeah, that guy hung me by a noose once at a World Star show in Hazleton at the Ramada.
I managed that guy. Okay, you know how hard it is to manage a guy that doesn't freaking talk.
Yeah, well, no, but I know how hard it was to fight him.
So do I. Neither way was fun.
Rick knew that guy. I don't know. It's like Dennis Diamond. Like, I think Dennis Diamond may have known Slambo the Clown, but I was never sure about that.
But no, so like Captain Rick introduced, I met them at a Reading Phillies game, and they took me in. They let me train there, and Captain Rick took care of my tuition for training. From this day, that's how I was understanding it. I don't know how that worked. I don't want to know, because I took care of my father. So, they did me a favor, but their fees there are so feasible. I hear people say, "Oh, I can't afford $20 and $30 a month." Well, then how are you going to wrestle?
Yeah, 30 a month. Jesus.
Like Mark Message, the ring fees at the Dungeon University are like, I think it's between $20 and $40 a month to train. Yeah. So, like, if you just want to go there and work out because you already had experience, but you want to go work out, there's a place right there. And when people say, well, who are they? They train Steve fucking Corino.
Yeah.
Steve Corino trained Ricky Reyes, 2 world-class athletes, like, that have been all over the goddamn world. And Steve Corino is an NXT producer. So that tells you that they're training. They know what they're talking about.
That's part of the reason why I went to the training center I went to, because even though, like I said, my trainer wasn't really well known, every month there were ECW guys coming down that were doing clinics, and they were free. They were included in the training. So like Carino helped train me. Simon Diamond, Dawn Marie helped train us in manager stuff. Keener came down and did a whole 2-day referee.
Freaking love Keener.
He came down and did a whole 2-day referee training session of 4 hours each.
Yeah.
Danny Doring Roadkill came down. Stevie Richards was down. I mean, and these are a lot of most of these guys I'm still in touch with today. And I'm like, man, this is, you know what? So I could tell people I was trained by Kevin Knight and Biggie Biggs, and they could say, well, who is that? Well, what about, I don't know, Carino, Doring, Simon Diamond, Dawn, Roadkill, Keener, whatever. Oh, I know who those guys are. They're on pay-per-view every month, and they're on TV
Yeah,
at 3 o'clock in the
those are
morning on Wednesday
ECW
night
guys.
on Sports Channel.
Yeah,
And
it's
I'm like, yeah, exactly. And then eventually, like I said, Kevin started doing a bunch of WWE stuff. He's got a ton of graduates now that have already been through WWE and a bunch that are still there. Robert Stone, him and I trained together. Darren Young, him and I trained together. Guys like that are still there, or some are still there. But yeah, man, it's like that's part of the reason because of those other guys, those associations that fans may not know directly, but once you explain, oh, this is this guy and this guy trained this guy, like, oh, okay, now I get it. Like that makes sense to me.
Yeah, like me, I didn't have a choice of picking a wrestling school really because at the time when I first came around the schools, it was Dio's Dungeon. This is before the Mess Brothers had it. They ended up shutting down, and then BodySlams was open. And then when I did more, after time went on, I heard the stories, but then I went and did the research, and I started seeing video footage of my trainers and stuff like that, who they were trained by. Jeff Gripley was trained by at the Monster Factory by Larry Sharp.
Oh man, that's where I wanted to go.
Damian Kane, he was trained up with Killer Kowalski. And then I look at their histories, their backgrounds on WWE Network. There's a shitload of footage, but you would have to look for it now because, well, it's not the network no more. But before you could actually just type his name in, and you can see Jeff's matches against guys like Bundy, Hercules Hernandez, Dr. David Schultz. He did a whole bunch of like stuff back then in the I guess early 90s, late 80s and stuff like that. Though he was traveling, he was working with WWE on a regular basis as at the time jobber, but they call him enhancement talents now, I guess.
Yeah.
And then Damian along the way with him, he worked with ECW towards the end there. So he was on their pay-per-views, but before that, he was working with guys. He helped bring Paul Heyman up from a commentator, announcer position, and then he started managing through Damian. That's what people don't realize, and what a lot of people don't talk about. Even if you notice on Paul Heyman's videos and stuff, I guess him and Damian probably had heat, so he never gives any recognition towards Damian for helping him out. But yeah, Damian aligned himself throughout the years with guys like Abdul the Butcher, DC Mad Dog Drake.
Oh wow, I used to love DC Drake
and the Headhunters, the twins.
Yep.
It was like everyone who he aligned himself with was like some kind of big monster foreign gimmick type like that though himself. So you kind of see what kind of background he had. But yeah, like I said, I didn't have the opportunity of just picking which school I was attending. So it was just like handed to me like, okay, this is your only option. It's right here in front. It's local. It's in walking distance. Okay, I guess I'm going here, and things seem to progress from there though. So what is that? Is that your car making all that noise?
Is it? Can you hear
it? More than usual.
Yeah.
More than usual when you're driving and you're talking. But
yeah, I don't know. I've never heard of it. I don't hear anything besides my
no. I don't hear nothing now. You're probably not driving.
All right. Well, I unplugged this. It could have been my wire plugged in for charging. I don't know.
You know what? I just want to bring up one more thing that Dennis mentioned before about guys complaining about I can't afford this. Another common complaint that I heard was, oh, it's too far. So like when I first started looking into schools, I didn't have my license yet. I was 16. And the only one I knew about that was local was Monster Factory. Well, I shouldn't say local. It's 2.5 hours away. Was the Monster Factory. And growing up, I always heard Larry Sharp's. I always heard the phrase Larry Sharp's Monster Factory. I don't know what the hell that meant. I don't know who Larry Sharp was. I saw it in PWI all the time. And then when I eventually figured it out, I was like, dude, I'm going to go there. Like that place, they make champ. In my head, I was like, oh, the Monster Factory makes champions. I got to go there. And then when I found out 2.5 hours away and I didn't have a license, and my parents were like, I'm not driving 2.5 hours to sit there for 5 hours and wait for you to get beat up and then leave and drive back home 2.5 more hours. I ain't doing it. Like, okay. And then I got my license, and a friend of mine, Mike Zaccone, rest in peace, just passed away a couple weeks ago. He was like, yo, there's a school open up in West Patterson, which is now known as Woodland Park, which is where I live. And like I said, I could walk to that place now. It's not there anymore, but it's walking distance from where I live. And he's like, the trainer's Kevin Knight, really good dude, blah, blah, blah. Let me take you down there and introduce you. Blah. So he took me down there, and the rest is history. And
so that was Camp IWF, right?
Yes. And the cool thing about that was before I even paid any tuition and started actually training in the ring, Kevin let me go for full sessions every Sunday for 6 weeks in a row, just until I decided if that's what I actually wanted to do. So, because he was like, I don't want to take your money, and then after one session, you're like, oh, this sucks. I don't want to do this too much or whatever. Yeah. So why don't you come down for a few weeks and just watch? And for the first 6 weeks, I just sat and watched. And the in-ring stuff I didn't really get because I wasn't doing it, but all the backstage, like the business of the business that he was training, I would soak all that in. So, but just getting back to the distance thing, like Kevin, like Dennis said before, that there's guys that are like, oh, I can't afford it. There's other people that are saying how far it is, but like, man, I gotta put over one guy here, Josh Daniels, who I don't even think wrestles anymore.
Yes,
I haven't talked to him in a while. But here's the thing about Josh is Josh lived somewhere around here. I don't even remember where, but he was going to school in Syracuse, which is a 4-hour drive. So he would stay up there, obviously living at the dorms or whatever. But 5 days a week, I think he only came 4 days actually, because one day he couldn't make it because of school or whatever. But he would leave school and drive the 4 hours to come down here and train for 4 hours, and then drive back 4 hours to be in school the next day, and then come back down. 4 hours. I mean, this guy's driving 8 hours a day for 4 hours of training 4 days a week. That's a guy that wants it. If you want it, you're gonna do something. Yeah.
I got a comment on him, and that the fact is, before the American Wolves came on the scene of Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards, Josh, I seen him as the next coming of Chris Benoit, Dynamite Kid.
Absolutely. That's why he called himself Dynamite. We used to call him Dynamite Josh Daniels.
Yeah. I got into I was in the ring with him, and his fucking his repertoire, his skills, everything was in there. It was tight.
He was a natural.
He got to go to Japan too as well.
Yep. Well, yeah, he wasn't thrilled with the first time he went there when they made him Elvis. They literally called him there's a clip somewhere online. I don't remember where I saw it, but they literally call him the Elvis Josh Daniels. He came out with the Elvis jumpsuit with the collar turned up, and he had to do the dancing and all the crap like this.
I didn't know that one.
Not a big fan of it, but yeah, there's a clip of it somewhere, and I don't remember where. It's in a documentary somewhere. But like I was saying, that's a guy that wanted it, man. If you want it bad enough, you're gonna make sacrifices like that, like driving 8 hours back and forth, or 4 hours back and forth for 4 hours of training. Plus, he's paying for that, paying for gas, paying for college, because again, he was going to school 4 hours away. That's a guy that I mean, I was in the ring with him. Those chops, I mean, you might as well just hit me with a frying pan. I'm like, with spikes on it. Yeah. Like, holy crap. That kid was just a natural. And that was a guy that, even though we were literally at the same level, we were in the same class, that guy was way above everybody. He was just a natural. Like they say, you're only as good as your last match, or you only learn by being in there with guys that are better than you. That guy was better than everybody on the first day.
Yeah,
and that guy, man, he made everyone better.
My biggest gripe about guys who want to get into the business and this and that is the part where they say, with the whole financial situation, but yet when it's time to do, as far as
when it's time to buy a PS5, they have all the money in the world.
Well, yeah. So when it's time to invest in themselves, as far as making their school payments, buying gear like boots or custom made gear and this and that to do what they need to do, but they have no problem spending money on video games, going out partying, drinking, getting high or whatever, going on vacations, going to concerts. Okay. Apparently you don't want, whatever, that too. If they have no problem spending money on all this other stuff instead of investing it into what they claim that, oh, it's my passion, it's my dream, but yet you're coming out here, you know, you're not even trying, but you're saying it's your passion. That's where I have my gripe about.
Let me throw out one of my gripes back to the marks, or the ones that think they know what they're talking about because they watch it on TV. That's another kind of group that I'm not a big fan of. The ones that say like, this is my passion, and
sorry, Mikey.
I'm passionate about wrestling. Like, yeah, no, like, I'm passionate about wrestling. Like, no, you're not, because what do you do about it? You watch it on television. That ain't passion. I'm not passionate about cooking, but I watch it on TV. If you're passionate about something, get the fuck off your ass and go do it. Even if you fail, give it a shot, man. I mean, there's no guarantees. No one, you know what I'm saying? Like Dennis said, they're not going to tell you you're gonna be in WWE one. I mean, someone will tell you that, the ones that are shady, but a true reputable, what's the word? Credentials, credible. This is Christmas. A true reputable and credible trainer will not tell you, come here for 6 months, you'll be doing dark matches for Vince.
Yeah, no,
dude.
Like that's the problem. Like that on that subject, like to the subject earlier about the whole they don't have the funds to make it, you know, and all that and stuff. Where there's school, I'm gonna say this: I know 2 people. One of them being the Hawaiian warrior Takela, moved all the way to Florida without any guarantees to go and get trained down there as well. Like had his own facility, had his own shows. Said, screw it, babe, let's move to Florida.
Bought his own ring and everything, too. He's doing great now, I heard.
And he had all that up here, but he moved to Florida without any guarantees.
Yeah, just him and his wife and his kid.
Yeah, one of his students did the same thing recently. Just said, you know what, screw it. I have a job interview, I'm going to move to Florida. So when I hear people say, oh, there's no one close to me, well, that's just a lame excuse because you don't want it. I know people that have moved to California when New Japan opened the school.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay? I know people that have moved over to Japan to go train over there. Like, so when I hear that there's no options, now there's options, you just don't want it. Like, you're not hungry enough, you're not passionate. Don't tell me this is all you've ever wanted, but when it comes to the nitty-gritty, you don't really want it. So, like, the whole Marks thing, I love the Marks, okay? I love them to an extent.
Right,
the ones I don't like is the ones that shit. I can't stand the ones that, shit on an entire match. Well, how about you be an analyst and actually analyze the match? What did you get out of the match? How did you see this match? What was the story they gave you out of this match instead of, it was a great match? Oh, no, that was the drizzling shit. Like, I can't stand those comments. Those are the ones where I just want to put my hand through their computers and slap them. Give me a reason why it wasn't good.
Right. Another thing that goes to Dennis's point is, how would you make it better? Don't just tell me it sucked. What would you do better? And since they don't know what the hell they're doing or what they're talking about, they don't have any answer for that.
Yeah, it's the thing is funny though. It may not be their cup of tea, but maybe another fan who's watching, maybe they enjoyed it.
Right.
See, I'm gonna say Paul Heyman, because he went on record and said, what we do is we don't cater to the ones who don't get it, who don't like it.
Right.
When we're out there performing stuff, we're doing it for the ones who do like it, who wants to see it. Yep. So for the ones who don't like our product or whatever, turn the channel. You don't have to watch or or whatever. That's like football. Oh, yeah. I don't like watching 100%. The Eagles. Oh, I don't like watching Eagles. Well, then don't watch them then.
Right.
I'm like
I don't like the Steelers. Okay, and we all know that. I'm not a Steelers fan. But if football is on, guess what? I'm gonna watch the Steelers. I don't care if I don't like them. I'm a football fan in real life. Like, I'm a Ravens fan, but I'm a football fan, just like baseball. I'm a Phillies fan, but I'll watch baseball. For wrestling, so bring up the Mark stuff. I hung out with somebody in Brooklyn. I'm not going to mention names, and they're in the business, and they say they don't watch anything but WWE because the fact that they can't stand the fact that AEW took shots at WWE. Who cares? It's a compelling. They're doing something that they feel that they have the right to do. Yes. Is it annoying when other companies are taking shots of other companies? Yes. It is a little bit of annoyingness. It's like, all right, do something that no one's expecting you to do. Am I expecting CM Punk to make comments towards WWE? Yes. Am I expecting MJF to do something? Yeah. Am I expecting Cody Rhodes to take shots at them? Yeah. Like, I get it, but at the same time, stop giving them light, just like WWE at the Hall of Fame when Triple H made the comment to Billy Gunn, my father-in-law will buy that piss ad company and fire you again.
Yeah.
Okay, congratulations. Vince can't buy that company because he can't afford it.
See,
I'm sorry. Tony Khan's a multi-billionaire.
Like what you're saying, Dennis, is another pro and con of being within the business.
100%.
Because some promotions, promoters encourage their talent. When you're out there cutting a promo, maybe you should mention said company, said what other performers that are working for that company. That might get that your own company that you're in might get you the oohs and ahs and the notices, but yet as a performer, the pros and cons of a wrestler, at the end of the day, it might shoot you personally in the foot. Like, if you personally don't have a gripe with that particular company, but you're going out there doing these promos towards that company or other talent, once you leave the company that you are with and you're not signed no more or whatever, and you're looking for work, and that's the only other option, the one that you were just dogging, and it's like, oh, we don't have nothing for
I got you. It's like burning a bridge.
Wasn't you just talking trash on us?
It's not burning a bridge. Like, it's more
not building it in the first place.
Yeah, like, look, I could go. I've taken shots at promotions in the indies, and I don't care. Like, when you run a shit show promotion and a shit show product, and you treat your workers like crap, these are the promotions that do deserve to have the shots taken at them. But when you work for one of the biggest wrestling promotions in the world, period. Like, WWE is without a doubt the number one wrestling promotion that every wrestler wants to go to. No one really says they want to go to New Japan. No one really says they wanted to go to ROH or Impact or, so on and so on. It was always WWE, WWF. That was the promotions people wanted to go to. So if you leave that promotion and you go somewhere else and then you're taking shots at them, why should they bring you back? If you decide to leave that other company and you want to go back to WWE or vice versa, why would we want to bring you back? You literally disrespect you. I get the whole storyline stuff.
Okay,
but there's a line.
Okay, gentlemen. Now that we are on this topic here about the whole mic stuff. Now, for the pros and cons of that, though, but for being a new cat in the business, a rookie, this is definitely a con. It's not a pro at all whatsoever. It's definitely a con, especially if you're like within your first year or two and you're trying to get booked in other indie companies like that. Do not take the side of whatever promotion you are working for, only because if they have issues with another company, it's just putting your career in jeopardy and you're just starting out trying to get booked. If there's any kind of controversy, let that be between that promoter and whatever other said company. Do not hands down get involved. And if someone comes to you and tell you, hey, it's either us or them, that's our competition.
Well, then I won't work for you.
You got to tell them flat out, yo, I have nothing to do with it. I'm just a worker, this and that. And I seen companies where they want loyalty. But hold up, what are you really paying me? I'm like, I say, okay, if you want me to jump on your ship and be dedicated just for you and this, that, and the hell with everyone else, I tell them, bring them your bills. Bring them your daily bills, your food bill, your gas bill, your electric, your rent, whatever. Throw it in their face. Oh, like, okay, here. Well, you want me? Well, then take care of my bills, and I'll be loyal to you then.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Like, I've done that. I have done that before. I've had a promotion literally tell me, look, if you want to work here, you can't work for them. I go, all right, well, you want me to be exclusive to you? Okay, that's fine. I can do that. Right? I can be exclusive out of you two. I go, but I'm going to work other places. I go, but if you want me exclusive for you and not them, then my fee is $450 a show. And they're like, well, that's too much. I go, then I can't be exclusive to you.
Right.
I go, because you sure as hell ain't paying me more than $40 a show, and you want me to tell another promotion that pays me $100 that I can't work for them because of you. I literally walked. The guy was like, you can't work for me if you work for me. I go, I don't want to work for you. I grabbed my gear bag. I was already in gear, and I left. I drove home. The girl, when I was with my kid's mom, she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, I got given an ultimatum, either them or them." I told them, "Well, I could be exclusive to you, but here's my price tag," and they pretty much told me they couldn't do that, and that it was either them or no go. I was like, I left. I don't care.
And then one of the other thing besides the pay there, between the difference between one or the other is that, like, if you had merchandise, let's say they wasn't paying you that great on either show, and you had, you know, nice merch that was always coming out, and you made more money on merch at the other show than you did the said show that was trying to keep you exclusive. I'm like, well, I'm losing money. Are you going to pay me my difference of merch from what I'm losing out from on the other show? So that there falls into place too as well. You got to look at the other stuff, and as well as because we all know there's always other promoters at different shows, and how are these other promoters are going to get to see and work with you if they don't work with that exclusive guy who wants to be exclusive? You know, if nobody likes him and wants to work with that individual, then you're not expanding your horizon of your work getting out there, dude. So guys, specifically, do not get involved with politics,
with the drama either.
Yeah, especially when you're just getting into business at all. That's a big no. That is a con.
Yeah, and I've gotten caught up in the drama of the business. Trust me, and it's come and bit me in the ass. Like I will say that. When we say stay out of the drama, I've been a part of it. I've been around it. I bit it. I felt I was drawn to it for what it was. And, you know, did it bite me in the ass down the road? Yeah, they're like,
all right,
whatever. People hold grudges for years.
All right, another pro and con is gear, wrestling gear in the business. As far as
rookies shouldn't have gear until they're done graduated.
I feel yes, one, they shouldn't have custom made gear at all for one period, especially when you're starting out. You should be that classic jobber and this and that. I feel I would like to bring to the States here where like Japan still does, where their greenhorns only have black tights.
Yes.
Black knee pads, black boots. That's it. Everything's just plain, simple until you work your way up and earn your
colors.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all they're all plain colors. There's nothing on their gear. There's no names, no designs. Yeah. It's black trunks or black tights or black biker shorts, with your knee pads.
Yeah, I was gonna say just simple gear, boots. Right?
And you can buy anywhere.
With like it's great to have ideas and get your designs and this and that. But like I said, you want to get your plain basic stuff, which I'm going to suggest. I'm going to say, if you want your plain basic black tights, the briefs, I would say go to highspots.com. They have the plain ones on there. Same thing with the knee pads and stuff. As far as boots go, if you're on a budget and stuff, I'm going to suggest what I think it's called ProWrestlingBoots.com or WrestleWear. It has two web addresses, but I'm gonna go with ProWrestlingBoots.com.
Wrestlingboots.com. I think. Are you thinking of that?
It might be. I actually have it on the BodySlams.
I think WrestlingBoots.com is Stagecoach. So those guys are real expensive because they do WWE.
Well, Stagecoach isn't doing anything no more.
Really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah. No, they're done.
That's how long I've been
doing it for a while.
That's how long I've bought.
You can go through MTZ Wear, and here's my thing. I'll tell everybody to go through High Spots because High Spots.
That's where I got mine.
Yes, you can get a pre-order. You can get a ready to ship order all you want. You want a pair of boots that fit you. High Spots tells you to literally put the measurements in. I won't go through any other company but High Spots. Like I got a pair of boots now that were from MTZ Wear. They're great, but within the first 2 matches, the leather was getting destroyed already, and I can't fix it. But with, High Spots, at least I know I'm going to pay, I know I'm going to pay a top dollar. Boots shouldn't cost you $100. They should cost you $300 to $400.
Oh
Period.
yeah, I paid $350 for mine. I only bought one pair ever my whole career. I still have them. They're beat to
too.
shit,
I
but
got mine in the closet.
yeah, they're beat to shit, but I like them like that. I want them to have character. They have, you know what I mean? They're beat up. You can tell, and that's cool. I mean, I've had to have the bottoms resold 3 times, but I'd rather do that for $50 than buy another pair for $350.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so if anyone is interested in looking for gear and stuff, like I do have multiple of a bunch of links on if you go to bodyslams.pro and you click on the services type section, you'll see the links at the top of where there's gear makers, designers, boots, all that stuff there. It's all in there. You can find a designer too to design your gear and stuff. But I suggest until you earn your colors and stuff, just get basic black and stuff because you're not trying to be. I know everyone's in the school.
Right, you're just trying to learn.
Everybody wants to be superstars right away from the door.
Yep.
You know, so yeah, just earn your spot, earn your colors, this and that. But yeah, some good quality stuff. Do your research, just like schools. Do your research. Find out who's the scam artists are, who you send your money out to, because there's a lot of times where you don't get nothing in return and people just scam you. So I'm constantly trying to update the webpage as far as getting rid of the links of ones that are no longer in service, as well as updating the new ones of gear maker as well as designers as well. So yeah.
Let me bring up one thing about actually what you just said about everyone wants to be a superstar right away. The first day of wrestling training, we all came in. Kevin had us all sit down. There was probably 30 of us at the time. It ended up being only like 7 that were left over by the time we got to the end. But the first thing he said was, okay, I want to show of hands. Who in here already has your wrestling name and character picked out? And like 15 people raised their hand. And I didn't. And he goes, well, why? And everyone's like, well, what do you mean? I want to, I know what I want to do. And then he was like, well, shouldn't you know how to do what you're doing before any of that even matters? Because what happens if you go in here and you've spent all this time coming up with stuff and creating stuff and coming up with a persona and blah, blah, blah. You come in here for the first time for 4 hours. What if it sucks? And then at the end of the day, you say, you know what? This ain't for me. And you wasted all that time and all that energy coming up with stuff. And it doesn't mean anything. And you're not doing anything about it.
I was going to say, isn't it more important to learn your craft first?
Yep.
And then come up with
I'm gonna learn how to, just for an example, I'm going to learn how to do welding for a year first before I have a business called Joe's fucking Welding, and I don't know what the hell I'm doing. You know what I mean?
I got one for you. It's like when you ask a guy like, so what's your character? What's this and that? Okay, I wrestle like a Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels type, but yet you look like, but
oh my god,
but they look like TL Hopper and wrestle like Bastion Booger. So it's like,
let me tell you the dumbest thing that when we first started doing shows, I don't even know how this came to my head, but something like what you just said. We had a kid. I don't even remember the kid's real name, but you out of here, dude?
Yeah, I'm out. I'm literally at the gun range, and we're not allowed to have phones on when we get inside.
Right.
So I will. I'll be in the chat, brother. So I'm gonna hop on the Facebook one and be in the chat so I can chime in with you guys still.
All
right, later.
And then there was 3.
So we had a kid. This is like the. I'm laughing just thinking about it. The first I think 6-7 months that we were there, or I shouldn't even say that. We had been training about 6 months, but we started doing shows after 4 months. And this kid's ring name was Britney Spears' boyfriend. First of all, it gets.
Why
better.
does that sound familiar? Like I heard this before.
I don't know. Maybe you have. This was.
Oh God! I gotta hear this.
This is. But first of all, that's just a horrible fuck. Get a name. Get a first and a last name. But the funniest thing was, and he couldn't explain why. He came out to a Christina Aguilera song. Wouldn't Britney Spears' boyfriend come out to a fucking Britney Spears song? And when Kevin Knight asked him, why do you come out to that song and not something by Britney Spears? Oh, I like the song. What? Then be Christina Aguilera's boyfriend. Dump Britney and go with this other. I don't understand that. It was the funniest thing I'd ever seen up to. Even I knew 6 months into training, I knew this kid's a moron.
See, the gimmick
so
would have been every time he comes out with a new song from a different girl, like, oh, I dumped her, now I'm so and so's boyfriend.
That's actually funny. That's a fun, but he should have a name.
Right. The gimmick would have worked a lot better if he did that.
God forbid if Taylor Swift was around back then, it would have been
Oh
all
my.
about her dumping him. So
Yeah, yep.
she left, and then he comes out crying when he finally gets to Taylor. Oh my God, she left.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with myself. All these songs are about me. How could she? But yeah, Joey's 100% right
That's pretty
about
funny.
the whole.
How could she?
Yeah,
That's a great one. Doing promos like, did you hear Britney's new album? She wrote a song about me. So funny.
Yeah, so he's 100% right about when
That's so funny.
when names and gimmicks and stuff like that, don't have
Don't
it right
match.
away when you go inside, because whatever you have in your head may not be right for you. You may see it
Right.
here,
Right.
you might be visualizing it, but when you see it on the grand scheme, when you're like, hold up, that's not your
Actually
look.
do it.
You don't wrestle that style. That name does not match you
Right.
whatsoever. And slowly but surely, like eventually I became Chio Frost myself, like I honestly, in the beginning, like my first wrestling name in the business was Mark Starr. Do I look like a Mark Starr? No, because I was under a hood at the time for my first match. So I was under a mask, so no one could tell.
Yeah.
Hey, but then after that, when I was showing my face, my trainers told me, hey, you're going to go. I went out by my real name, my legit shoot government name, because I was nobody. I'm
Chio
just
Frost.
a job. I'm just. I put it out there. I said my name, Dave Valentine. Yes, okay, that's my government name. So I'm like, all right. So because I'm nobody, who am I? I'm a jobber. There's nothing behind me. I'm there to make the other guys shine, and I was good at that. And as time goes on, somebody else they started a company because they want to feel special about themselves.
Yeah.
And they gave me the name Kid Extreme. And that was when the whole Kid Extreme thing was when I was a kid still. I was young, fresh in the business. But at the same time, the whole Extreme thing was popular at the time when ECW was doing their thing. So like, okay, because I had the whole rock look. And eventually, I want to get away from that. But it's hard to break away from that name when people know you for so long of using it. So then there was another then it was about where was it? They were doing there was two radio hosts here in the Reading area. There was Nick Harris and Al Burke. Well, it just so happens that night they were supposed to be in attendance, and Nick Burke was in the ring, and they wanted someone to come out as Al Harris, because they flip-flopped the names. So Nick Burke's in there. I said, but that's not my name. I said, don't worry, I'll make it work. That was the night was born of me doing the split personality Kid Extreme Al Harris, where I would talk to myself, snitch on myself. This and that. It was a comedy gimmick. It was a comedy, but it got over. It was my first time doing it. I didn't know what the hell I was doing until I went through the curtain. I did it on the fly. Everything was on the fly, and it worked from there. And I kept on with it for a while. Dropped the Al Harris thing. I was still doing the whole Kid Extreme thing. Eventually, I was like, yo, I got to get rid of this. That's like, because that was just given to me. It was given to me.
Yeah.
So you're trying to put things together in your head. You're trying to figure out a name. And like at the time, I always liked Kid Frost from the West Coast. He was a Latin MC. So I was like, okay, I'll use the last name Frost. What can be the first name? And I came up with Chio because there's a radio personality down in the Philadelphia area. It was Chio in the morning. Well,
okay.
So
I always wondered where that came from.
I hit him up. I said, hey, I really a fan of yours, this and that. Apparently, like maybe a week later, he calls me up at home. I'm like, who the hell is this? I'm like, this is Chio from Chio. And me and him were talking. We talked for a good while. And I have interviews online on YouTube where you can go back and hear us talking about because I ran into him at a MySpace party when Tila Tequila was popular at the time. And so we were talking about the party, how me and him met each other, and and he gave me his blessings to use his name because it was rare. You never heard the name Chio out there besides
Right.
him
I
in the
still
radio.
haven't.
Right.
You're the only one I've ever heard with that.
Yeah,
name.
yeah. You hear Chico, you hear Chino,
Yeah.
which I got people calling me that all the time because they don't pronounce Chio right. So
Yeah.
so he gave me his blessings. It was great, and then I attached the whole frost on the end of it, and that's how Chio Frost.
I always thought, you know what I thought Chio meant? I thought because of frost, I thought like cold. So I thought Chio was a combination of chili and frio. I was like, oh, Chio, that makes sense.
In some of like I actually use this terminology in some of in Latin cultures they use Chio as referring to as the other guy. Is like a female would go,
Oh.
this is my Chio, like my other guy, my side piece, whatever.
Yeah.
That's like guys would go say, this is my Chia. This is my my side piece. So
That's funny.
I welcome that terminology. Great. Yeah, I'm the other guy. Yeah, I'm the other guy.
That's funny.
So and Joseph,
Yes,
and
sir.
how did you become Joey Image? Since we're on the topic of names.
Well, a lot of people know this, but my real name is Joseph, Joey, whatever.
Really? I did not see
Yes.
that one coming, Joey.
Yeah. So
That's a rare name. I never heard that before.
I used to go by JJ Image just because I wanted to separate me from wrestling. And then people would say JJ in the locker room, and I didn't realize they were talking to me because I'm not used to answering to that. Because I've been just Joe or Joey for, my first. I started training when I was 23, which is like 10 years later than I wanted to. But everyone had always called me Joe or Joey, so I was never called JJ. That was just a wrestling thing. So, I had been in training for 3-4 months, and people were calling me that, and I'm like, and then finally someone would go, Joe, and I turn around and go, yeah, you talking to me? Yeah, I called you 4 times, you never answered. Okay, I'm just gonna change my name to goddamn Joe or Joey because it's my real name, and at least when people say it, I'll turn around and go, oh, that guy's talking to me. So it worked out that way. But I always took it. I took the name from the Joey Image from the Misfits, who, rest in peace, he just passed away also 6 months ago from cancer. But I've been a huge fan of the Misfits, the band, not the Gem and the Holograms one, but not the Combat guys. I like them too, but that's not where this came from. But yeah, I've been a huge Misfits fan. Glenn Danzig, Jerry Only, Doyle von Frankenstein, and sorry, my phone's going off. And they've had like a million drummers, but Joey Image was their first drummer. He was in the band. So here's the thinking behind it. I was always a big fan of theirs. I'm like, oh, and they live or they're from 3 towns over from where I'm from, like a 8-minute drive or something like that. So I was always like, oh, this is cool. I'm gonna keep it local. I'm gonna rep Bergen County, New Jersey, area code 201, just like those guys did. And I'm gonna use that guy's name. My real name is Joe anyway, Joseph, so that works out. And his real name is Joseph. His last name was Poole, Poole. So I'm like, I'm not going to use that, but I'll use his stage name, Joey Image. I'm just going to steal it. And I've wrestled in front of Jerry Only and Doyle from the Misfits, and neither one of them said anything. And I know Michael Graves, the guy that became the singer after Glenn Danzig left. I know him since he was fucking 15 years old. And he never said anything, and he didn't even know Joey Image anyway. So they were all fine. I'm assuming they were fine with it. I never got any lawsuits after I wrestled in front of those other guys. So I was like, I'm just going to use this in tribute to that band because I grew up loving those guys. And again, they're local guys. So they were always like, they were always big time to me. And that's kind of where it came from. I kind of took it in tribute to those guys. And then let me tell you, when the news came out 5 or 6 years ago that Joey Image from the Misfits was diagnosed with cancer, I can't tell you how many messages I got. I remember one text message from
they all thought it was you.
Yeah, I remember one text message from a friend. So there was a kid that I trained with in Camp IWF named Ryan. His mother used to come down to all the training sessions and shows because Ryan was 13 when he started, so she had to sign off as his adult. As his mother, so she had to sign off as his parental guardian legally or whatever. So she texted me like a week after the news came out and was like, I don't know who this message is going to go to, but I'm very sorry to hear about Joey's passing and blah, blah, blah. And I responded like, hey, I'm alive, with a picture of me like this. Two thumbs up. And she responded, holy shit, what happened? I heard you were dead. I go, no, man, let me explain something to you. This is the other guy. And then, not when you were dead, not when you were dead. Sorry. Very sorry to hear about Joey's diagnosis that you have cancer or whatever. And I was like, hey, I'm good. And then the same woman messaged me after he passed away and said, I'm very sorry to hear about this. And I don't know if this is his wife getting this message or whatever it was. And I was like, it's me. I'm still here. It's the other guy. But man, I got text messages. There were tweets. Oh, it was amazing. But anyway, long story, or to make a short story long, that's where the name came from.
All right. And Mikey, I guess your nickname.
Where'd your name come from?
My
parents, man.
My parents, yeah. Like,
like where else? God, come on.
I
remember a time where you couldn't talk about that stuff.
Yeah.
You couldn't say my name came from here. You'd say my parents gave me this name. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Although my parents did give me the name Joseph, so I'm okay with that.
All right. So another pros and cons of a young wrestler's life that's just getting into business. Joseph, we're gonna go with one of the biggies that is a must talk about, and that is travel. When you're traveling with other talent.
Let me say another one of the cons that we haven't mentioned is being in the locker room and seeing a bunch of naked dudes.
We can get to that afterwards.
I was never really too big into that. What did you say?
I will have one name to put out there when we get to that subject. I will put one name. It was a little shocking for me though, but okay.
Oh, does it have to do with the weather? What's going on outside? What I said before?
No,
okay. Because I know a guy with the name of that doesn't wear much in the locker room.
It kind of happened up at GSW. So.
Oh wait, whoa! It wasn't me, right?
No, it wasn't you.
No, I know I don't do that. But I don't even like to get changed for. I wear my gear.
While we're on the subject, let's might as well just talk about it now since we're already on the subject. We'll talk about travel afterwards.
Well, I was thinking Al Snow because he gets changed and he doesn't wear nothing. He just walks around.
I am
sausages hanging out and stuff. And I'm like, whoa, dude.
I seen guys change like that before,
I saw Al Snow legitimately have a 2-hour conversation with Cage, not wearing a thing the whole time. They were just sitting there talking, and it was the funniest thing.
The one guy was, like I said, I seen guys change in the locker room where that's no biggie. Yeah. One was ISIS Effects.
I love that guy.
He's like nonchalantly just walking around the back, no nothing on, like everything's cool. This was at the Music Rec Center, and I'm peeking through the curtain trying to see from the stage. That's when we were up on the stage changing, and I'm peeking through. I'm watching the show, and because we're all trying to peek because we didn't have a monitor back then. So I'm peeking through. Next thing you know, like I feel a shoulder like someone leaning over top of me trying to look through as well. And I turn my head slightly to see who's behind me, and he's standing there balls ass naked right behind me, almost like close to my backside. And I'm thinking, what? I'm like, let me just scoop my ass out of here. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like all he had to do was just, get a Woody and press up against me, and shit, I would have been impregnated. Yeah, I would have been impregnated by him.
Hey, when we were in Old Forge, ISIS Effect just walked past me, and I got pregnant once. It was amazing. It was amazing. I love that guy. That he's one of the funniest guys.
There was stories of I don't know if you heard stories of Tony Atlas in the locker room.
Oh yeah, with the shoe thing or the foot thing or whatever.
Well, no, of him. So somebody was saying something about where he was there in the locker room, standing there, and he'd be like not quite erect or whatever, but he's like slamming his shit up against the locker.
Why?
I don't know.
What the hell?
I just heard stories of that one, and what the hell is wrong with people? Like sometimes I'm like, and we all heard about the whole foot thing. We all
Yeah,
did
yeah,
hear about the whole shoes and stuff like that. We were down in West Virginia, and he looks down, and we're in the bar afterwards having some drinks and food, and he looks down, and lady walks by. First thing out of his mouth, "There's some nice shoes. They really nice shoes." I'm like, I would love to have them walk on my feet. You know, I'm
Yep.
like, ah, shit,
Yeah,
it's
like,
true.
I understand guys have that weird fucking foot fetish thing, but I don't understand the shoe thing. Doesn't that shit hurt? They got heels and shit. I don't want a hole in my face. My God, if I wanted that, I would just get my tip pierced or something weird like that. It's crazy.
All right, now that we took that weird left turn into naked in the locker room,
Back to the traveling.
back to the traveling on the roads, the do's and don'ts, the pros and cons. Gentlemen, do not, unless your girl is a worker and she's on the show, or if you're traveling by yourself, then you can take them. But if you and the boys are traveling to the show, do not take your girlfriend with you.
I wish someone would taught me that. I wish someone would have taught me that when I first started training. She started training with us because she wanted to be a valet.
Well, that's different. If
she was for a little while, but when we split up, it was awkward.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, if she's a trainee and she's a valet, that's one thing. And if she's chipping in or you're paying her way, whatever.
Yeah.
That's what, other than that, they are gentlemen. Your girlfriend, wife, or whatever, if she's not in the business or she's not part of the show, she is taken away from a spot in the vehicle from somebody else who could use that spot to be on the show.
I'll go a little bit further than that. If your girlfriend, wife, boyfriend, husband is not a worker, when I came up, they were not even or not. I shouldn't say that. Before I started years ago, there was a point where they were not even allowed to be in the building, in the crowd, or anything.
Wow.
Well, I mean, it makes not in the crowd at least. I mean, they weren't backstage, or they weren't a worker. They weren't in the crowd because the reason for that being, and I explained this to another ex-girlfriend who just gave me shit about it, didn't understand. But the reason for that is if my girlfriend wife is in the crowd and she knows it's just a show, and I get hit with a chair,
she's not going to react.
Not going to react to it because she knows I'm fine.
I
suggest people see us.
My suggestion was if anyone who's there as an extra who's with you, do not sit in those seats for the fans. Sit all the way in the back.
Yeah, I never thought.
Be
a
wallflower.
Really
yeah, sit all the way in the back. That way you're not taking away from the paid fans.
Right.
Even if you had to buy them a ticket,
yeah.
If they're not going to react and you're just sitting there, like I seen women reading books at shows.
Yep. I was going to just say I worked.
And then nowadays they're on their phones, just sitting there on their phones like nothing,
I was about to say this ex that I'm talking about, not the one that was training, but a couple girlfriends later, she would bring. I remember one time specifically, myself and Eric Andretti, when we were still the T-Birds from the Grease movie. We were the T-Birds from Rydell High School, although we had to spell it BYRDS for copyright. Yeah. But we wrestled VIP, which is Chris Rockwell and Eric Cooper, and in fact, WWE ref Matt Bennett was our referee in that match. But she brought a book and she was reading a book in the crowd at that point, and I was like, "You can't be doing." That's when I explained, you can't do that. If you're gonna come, you have to act like you don't know what's up, because if you're not gonna react and people see us walk in together, well, if that's his girlfriend or wife and she's not worried, why should I give a shit? Why should I worry? But yeah, that's what she used to bring a book in all the time, and I'm like, dude, you can't. And eventually she just stopped coming because I would keep bitching at her.
Well, yeah, the bad thing about it is, one, when they do come at you, one, they're so attached to you where they want to be around you, but they don't want to interact with what you're doing. They don't want to be left alone or whatever. They're like, oh, or they're just so attached where, oh, I'm nervous that you're going to go here or there. You're going to be talking to whatever other girls, this and that. Well, if I'm talking to girls that are fans that are just happen to be pretty coming up to me, it's because they are fans.
Right. And I'm trying to sell a product.
I'm like, well, why'd you take a picture with her? Well, 'cause she's a fan and she asked to take a picture with me. That's the whole point.
Yeah. The coolest I can say this. Speaking of girlfriends, on the pro side is my ex. God, we split up in like 2010, I think. She was bisexual, so she would come to shows and
Sweet.
be like, "Hey, there's a cute looking chick right there. Go flirt with her, and maybe instead of $20, maybe offer her a shirt for $15 or something. It's a sale,
Yeah.
sale. Tell her about. I'm like, oh, that's amazing. Like that's a great idea. So I would go over, hey, how are you? Blah blah. I wouldn't, never like direct, insertion or anything. Like, hey, can I put it in you
Yeah.
right now and I'll give you a $15 shirt? But like, but it was always like not hardcore flirty stuff, but always like, hey, how are you? How's it going? Did you have a good time? We have another show on this date. I have T-shirts, blah blah, shit like that. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool because, like I said, my other ex would sit there and read a book, didn't care what was going on, and I'm like, that's so that's kind of the only. And that ex knew enough. I explained it to her once, and she knew enough to stay in the back, or even if she, um, even if she came with me and wanted to sit in the crowd during my match, she would go outside in the car and read or hang out, smoke a cigarette, whatever the hell it was, just so she wasn't. She thought that she would ruin something if she didn't react enough or didn't react at all to something that happened.
Any
At least she understood.
Yeah. And she would watch my matches. I mean,
it.
she didn't do that a lot. There was only a couple times where she would actually leave the building, but other times she would just get up and stand in the back. She would have a seat for the rest of the show, but she would get up and stand in the back just so she could, just so she didn't distract. Because that girl, I had pictures of her on my Facebook and stuff, so people knew that was my girlfriend. So when she would come, she would always make sure she wasn't in plain view of a lot of fans, and people were. Her and my current wife are the only two people I dated that when I put pictures of them on Facebook, they got a bunch of friend requests from wrestling fans that they never heard of that were like, oh, you're Joey's wife, you're Joey's girlfriend, cool. Blah. And my wife doesn't, she always asks me first, is this person okay? Is this person okay?
Is this person a weirdo?
Yeah. My ex just didn't add anybody. But anyway, not to get off that topic, but that's like the only, that's like, and my current wife is the same way. So, Chio, you met my wife a couple times at GSW. She used to sell she used to do the refreshment stand and stuff like that.
I have to go back and look again.
You've met her because she knows.
I'm
she knows
sure I have.
Yeah, she knows exactly who you are.
Because the thing is, I met so many talent like
yeah.
in the locker room, I'm mainly always associated with the boys, but
Right.
then not as much as the wives. Yeah, I might greet, hey, how you doing? What's up? Because I see them. But now it's trying to like who's with who. Now it's like playing a matching game. Which wife is with?
Right, and you don't want to make a mistake because some of these chicks have been with a couple of the guys. But my current wife, she used to GSW. She used to run the refreshment stand with John's father. So she would sell like whatever, hot dogs, sodas, drinks, whatever it was. So she a lot of times didn't even have time to look and see what was going on and react. And I actually think I was done before her and I met. She was the only time she actually saw me wrestle was my Final Five. And then after that I was doing the GM thing. So she was doing the the refreshment stand stuff. But my Final Five, we had just met like, I don't know, a year before I started doing that. So she was still worried about me. So she wasn't like reacting to the move. She was legitimately worried if something was going to happen. I told her like, don't worry, I'm not going to bump in any of these matches.
I had one that was literally a mark where she was hip to what I was doing, but when it got time to get into the show, she's screaming and I'm like, and I go back and I watch the footage. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, I can understand if you were a fan, but you're with me.
Yeah, right. You're with
right. Know what's going on.
You would think you would know already what's going on, but you're still acting like one of them, though. But all right.
I think personally, I think we should go back to the time when wives and girlfriends were not allowed, or wives, girlfriends, husbands, boyfriends were not allowed allowed to sit in the crowd at least, or in the back. Let them hang out all the way in the back of the arena. Don't sit in the crowd with the base.
Yeah, exactly. In the back, go sell my merch, whatever.
Even if it's just for my match and you want to come out for the rest of the show later, that's fine. But don't sit there, especially if you're not going to react, or like my stupid ex read a book. You can get out of here with that crap.
All right. Some more do's and don'ts of travel, Joseph.
Oh man. Travel, the girlfriend thing you brought up or the boyfriend thing you brought up is good. They're taking up a spot, especially if someone else is willing to chip in for gas and they're
Yes.
not because they're your significant other.
And,
You know?
yeah, well, that's precise the point. Make sure when you're traveling, make sure you bring some extra cash with you because you don't know how many people are going to be in the car. And if you're sharing a ride with someone else who has the vehicle,
Yeah.
you know, and you're not driving, at least try to help navigate. But when I say navigate, I'm talking about before GPS.
Yeah, right. Now you don't need that.
I'm
Now
sorry.
it's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Now you don't need it. But you want to stay awake. You want to bring the extra cash to help cover.
See, that's
the
that's
car-
that's like an unwritten rule that I was always taught was like, if you're shotgun, front seat, you don't fall asleep when the other guy's driving because whatever he needs someone to talk to keep him awake. Well, I never cared about that. If there's 4 of us in the car and I'm driving and you want to take a nap, man.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
fine.
yeah.
I used to map quest everything and print it out anyway, so I had directions. And I
Well,
know
it's good though. What you're saying is like, but the way you said, if there's 4 of you, so that way, hopefully, other guys have driver's license as well. That you guys, if you're tired, you can switch out.
I wouldn't care if everyone fell asleep. Never bothered me. I understand why that was a rule, but I mean, and yeah, it was always. I don't think I traveled with anyone that didn't already have a license ever at all that I could think of.
Yeah, unfortunately, in the beginning, like I didn't have a license, but I managed to, I stay awake, navigate, take care of the snacks, this, that, whatever, whatever I could do, and then when I did have a license, I drove too as well because if I went to the show trying to get on the show, and the other person was working and I couldn't, I know he just had a match. He could be banged up. He could be tired. So I said, look, I'll drive back because, you already work. You might want to relax in the car and whatnot. But yeah, and that's one of the challenges that I put out there before was some of the newer talent right now. Don't use your cell phones or GPS or whatever. Go back and go old school. Get one of those Rand McNally books from like the gas station, whatever. Find the address of the place. Look it up on the map itself, the location, and then when you get to said town, like look for signs, or if there's a poster. If there's not, go to the gas station. Ask people. Just like, hey, where's so and so? I'm trying to find. Go old school to that old tradition of traveling. You search for the town, you find the best route there, because there's no GPS for shortcuts, so you have to figure it out yourself.
All right.
And like I said, the same thing. And then see and take some change with you. See if you can find a payphone.
Yeah,
that's one of the things. That's a challenge right there. Go old school. Find a payphone so you can call the people. Hey, I'm where he's located. I'm here. Try that old school way. Like, even though this is gonna go over other people's heads, they're not gonna want to try it or do it, whatever.
yeah, of course.
Because now, like I said, you got the smartphones, you got the GPSs.
I used to do that shortcut thing a lot, though. I would map quest the address, print it out, but I would still, when I got to the area, say, "Hey, I know I'm supposed to go this way, but you know any shortcuts I can get there quicker, or whatever." I would do that a lot.
Yeah. And like I am totally game to do that. So Joseph, if we ever want to make a trip somewhere to a show, we can meet up.
I would love to.
And we could get the book out, literally go old school.
The Rand McNally map.
Yeah. Get a pocket full of change just so we can find a payphone. Even though we got cell phones on us.
Yeah.
Find a payphone and use payphones.
I always want to go to shows, and I always see, like, for example, Steve Off posts a lot on Facebook about their ring rentals, and hey, we need a ring set up Friday night in Richfield Park for a show on Saturday. If you come and help, we'll book you on the show, or we'll consider you'll be booked for a future show. Or hey, anyone want to go to the Stepdads? I don't want to say his real name because I forget his ring name. But the Stepdads, his initials are DB. He posted yesterday about, hey, if anyone can pick us up or whatever, we'll or no, not wasn't even that. It was just,
was this the one to go to True?
Yeah. If anybody wants to go to True with us, we can we'll get you in touch. We'll meet you. We'll introduce you to the promoter. You can talk about whatever getting booked in the future. Blah blah. You help us out. Blah blah. So, and I always want to be like, dude, I would do that. But I feel like now that I haven't wrestled in over 6 years, I'm taking a spot away from
I said the
another
exact
guy that
same
could
thing.
be doing that. And like one
Right.
of these days, I'm gonna call Steve off and say, look,
I'm
I would come and do that. Obviously, I don't need a spot on the show because I can't. But if you would have me, I would love to come help. And I
I
just haven't done that yet. But it's like I don't want to
I
take a spot away from somebody that can get booked that night or in a future event because I just want to go have fun and hang out with the boys. You
I
know,
might be I might be traveling down to the North Carolina area. I'm not
nice.
sure. I'm not sure yet. I haven't touched base with the individual. If you know
Yeah.
Xander from Ray's Lighting from the
Right.
shows
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
out there in Jersey,
Right.
he has a gig down in North
Oh, nice.
Carolina.
Wow.
And we were talking about, I said, dude, I'll come down just to help you set up your lighting equipment and this and that. Apparently, the company, whoever booked them, they has the fee and they
Yeah.
booked the hotel and stuff like. So I might do that. I might either meet him somewhere, maybe go down with him, or I
Yeah.
just might drive down myself. But it's in North Carolina though, just
That's
to go down and help out though. Just with
it
is like,
depends on where, but that's 11 to 13 hour. I did that once a month for like 2 3 years that I worked for Power Pro Wrestling. I used to do,
yeah.
dude, so since we're speaking about travel, once a month I had a weekend booked where I was in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina, and they always fell in the same weekend for like 18, 19 months. So, and it was a combination. It was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but Friday night could be Jersey, Friday night could be Pennsylvania, Friday night could be North Carolina, whatever. It always just worked out that these three companies used to run on the same weekends. So I would have to drive. So the Jersey shows, the Jersey company ran 3 miles from my house where I was living at the time in Parsippany. That was fine, but Pennsylvania was 3 hours, which is not terrible. North Carolina was 11 hours, 11 to 12, depending on traffic, obviously. So I would like, thankfully, New Jersey always ran on a Friday. So it was always like I would just leave my day job and go home, get changed. And I was 3 miles. I was there in Booton at the Booton Elks Lodge. But then from there, I would usually so most times, I think maybe only once or twice it was different, but most times it was New Jersey Friday, North Carolina Saturday, Pennsylvania Sunday. So so I would leave my day job Friday, go home, get changed, go 3 miles to Booton, New Jersey. I was good. Go home, get changed, eat something, get changed, whatever, and then leave at midnight because I knew it was going to be an 11 or 12 hour drive. Drive straight through to North Carolina without stopping. I would go right to the venue at 12 and then sleep in the parking lot for 6 7 hours, as long as I could. Usually it was 5 6 hours, and they knew I drove that far, so they wouldn't wake me up. Shows usually were 7:30 8 o'clock anyway, so they all knew I was already there. Promoter would come over and say hello. I would end up, getting out of the car 5:30 6 o'clock, getting changed, doing the show, and then leaving again at midnight to come back home. And then I would go from there right to Pennsylvania, and then I would crash there. I crashed at Draven Blazes House a couple times. So I go to the parking lot.
Yeah. You figure instead of driving all the way from North Carolina all the way back home to Jersey to just to
Right, just
only
to go
turn
three
around.
more. Yeah.
Yeah, just when you.
So I would just go right to the venue, and I did that once a month, and I loved it, man. It was like it's so much travel, so much wear and tear in my car, but dude, it was awesome. Like I loved it. I loved it. There's a lot of people that don't like to travel, even guys in WWE, and they're flying everywhere. They're not
Yeah,
driving everywhere. I get
I
they're driving, but I liked it. A lot of guys complain about the travel.
Oh,
I dug it.
I'm one of those guys who love to travel too as well. But
Yeah.
now for some reason that I'm older now, I get a little bit more
Yeah.
tired. Well, I get
Yeah.
those that tunnel vision at nighttime now. Now that I'm older,
Yeah.
now like so I feel it. So I like leaving really early in the morning when daylight is just coming up. So that way, I like driving during the daytime so I can see stuff going on. Because at nighttime you start getting sleepy, you get that tunnel vision, and you don't want to cause an accident. But there's times where I fight through it, especially like on the way home from Jersey. Just recently, my daughter kept yelling at me, "Dad, Dad!" JoJo. As it happened a couple times coming back from GSW too, where
She
like
can't drive yet?
No, not yet. No. She's old enough. She just ain't got a license. And
Tell her,
first
kid,
time,
you got to get a license, man. Daddy
well,
needs help.
well, when the first time I took her, I tried to get her to drive. 10 seconds later, I was stomping on that imaginary brake on my side. And I'm like, stop, get out.
Yeah,
And like,
yeah.
I don't even think I let her get like 5 feet. And I'm yelling, stop, get I'm done.
Yeah. That's funny.
So, but you know what?
But I think also because I'm getting older, I'm like, hey, True has got a show. It's about 3 hours away. I could do that. And then yesterday comes, I'm like, I don't want to drive 3 hours, man. Then I got to drive 3 hours back. I'm like, oh, Ridgefield Park, 15 minutes from home. It's beautiful. I wish people were running shows there when I was still active. And there's like 2-3 shows in a month. I'm like, this is great. I can go right there.
It's like now. It's like right here. There's nothing decent in the Reading area here. The only
I used to go to IWA in Reading.
Well, yeah.
Years ago.
Well, that's where I was at.
I forget who the guy's name that run it was. Terry something. I forget. I know Terry Rapid Fire Model.
Yeah, Terry Frank Koviak, and that's probably when I was that. Was you there when I was there? Because I was there.
I started going there in 2000 after when I was during my Kevin Knight training because Carino was helping out there. Terry was running it.
Okay,
and
that was
Fire
like
Maldonado was the
that was
guy.
a little bit after. That was a little bit after I left, and then I came back. So you
maybe.
probably showed up like right in between because when they were there, when I was there and Kevin was there and stuff, we had Roman, Hadrian, Barry BPA.
Oh God. I trained with all 3 of those guys.
Rob Echoes, Damian Adams,
too.
Josh, all those guys I'm naming off from Camp IWF.
Yeah,
was there when I was.
That's where we all came from. We came from Camp IWF to go there. That's where we started our first few bookings outside of IWF.
Yeah. So who knows? We probably shared a locker room back then too, and just didn't realize it.
Yeah, that's very possible actually.
Yeah. We've been on for like over an hour and 40 minutes. We touched on, the pros and cons of being a wrestler. Like we didn't get through everything. We only got through a little bit, but from what we talked though, but when we talk about these topics, they do expand into our own personal stories and stuff like that. But you know what? We can come back to the pros and cons and pick up where we left off for another
episode.
We should.
That
like
way,
a part 2 of that, and then we got
that
Dennis
way
too,
we don't
talk about the rest of it.
Yeah, that way we don't use it all in this one show.
Yeah,
we have a couple other topics here because today is football day, and usually the games start at 1 o'clock. But we do have a couple filler type topics that we can jump on, which I'm going to throw out there right now. So, like I said, you're going to hear part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5. How many other parts of the pros and cons of being in the life of a pro wrestler? We will get back. We'll throw it into multiple different shows if we have to. It's just.
And I will ask the questions you guys have been wondering about.
Yeah. One of the biggest topics that's been buzzing since was it Wednesday night? I believe it was, or was it Friday night? I think it was Wednesday night. It was Wednesday night.
Are we starting off with MJF and CM Punk?
Yes, we are. All my days are getting blended. Yes, that CM Punk MJF promo was hot and heavy, and it had the internet world talking with all the references to people in other companies being referred to. Of course, one other. I just said other companies. So, but anyway, MJF hands down started it all with the whole talk about about John Cena. He can't see him. But some of the stuff that
CM Punk was saying, like a less famous Miz, and
he called it like, I thought MJF stand for my jealous fan.
Yeah.
He mentioned that that MJF will probably only get over if Tony Khan had a daughter for him to marry.
Yeah,
You know,
Is a reference to Stephanie?
obviously.
it's just a bunch of different stuff going back. Joey, what's your take on that whole promo?
I
Because
was not.
I know you had some feedback comments you mentioned on Twitter.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
not a fan. First of all, I think it went way too long. Usually those are the top two guys for promos as far as I'm concerned in AEW. But man, it went way too long. And I think MJF paused too long in between lines this time. Like he would say ABC and then wait, 15 seconds and then D. Just get to your point, dude. Go in there. It's got to be like a telephone call. Dial the number. Guy says hello. Get to your point. Hang up. That's it. Get to your point. I think it took
Right.
way too long. Way too much.
Like 18 minutes or something
way
like that.
Way too many WWE references. Like I get it. CM Punk's got a past. That's fine.
Mhm.
You don't have to talk about it. Everyone there's got a past. You don't have to talk. They don't. They don't come up to. They don't bring up Sonny Kiss and say, "Well, that guy worked at Ace Wrestling in Wallington, New Jersey, under Mike Moore." No, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. What's here and now is what's important.
Right. I think as a fan though, the fans are like, wow, like I can't believe they went there. They pushed the envelope. It's shock value for the fan.
There was no shock value. They mention every single chance they get on every single show they do. Number one does not have to mention number two because number one's at number one. Number two is gotta, the wolf that's climbing the hill is always hungrier than the one on top. They always have to mention WWE. I think it's stupid. Listen,
and then if you notice, every time AEW mentions WWE, WWE never responds back with anything of themselves on air at all. They just ignore it. I think.
I was going to say there was when I was working for Gino Caruso at ECPW, I did a promo where I mentioned WCW, and again, I'm an indie guy. No one knew who I am. No one knows, ECPW on a national level. And even then, I was pulled aside privately and said, don't mention other companies in your promos. We work for this company. That's what's important, not what someone did somewhere. I referred to Crowbar as Mr. WCW in a promo. And it was like, not what happened back then with anybody else. What's going on right now is what's important. Does WWE talk about, or does WWE talk about WCW on TV? They did the Norfolk thing. Fine. They did the Billionaire Ted stuff. That was when they were losing. They were number 2 at the time. WCW was doing it first, and then WWE did it in response. But it still started with WCW doing it. And what I was told was don't mention another company. Even though Crowbar worked for ECPW at the time, he was still from WCW. So I was told don't mention that. And I understood why. Like, worry about your own deal, not what somebody else is doing. You want to improve AEW based on AEW's merits, not based on CM Punk's merits when he worked for a different company. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? You want people, and all you're doing when MJF goes out there and talks about the "you can't see me" guy and the King of Kings he mentioned, all you're doing is telling people, oh, that's right, CM Punk's not an AEW guy, he's a WWE guy. You want CM Punk to be an AEW guy. You don't want him to be a WWE guy that happens to wrestle in AEW. That's not the way it should be. That guy should be your, a guy like that, I should say, not him specifically, but a guy like that should be your top guy because of what he does for you, not because of what he did for somebody else.
See, the whole situation behind all that, though, is now that Punk had nothing to worry about. Punk already worked there. He left for 7 years. He's working with AEW. He can pretty much go anywhere. Now, this whole thing goes back to what we were saying earlier about
I was gonna say,
about talent. Don't get in the middle of the war, whatever, between companies and this and that. When we said about because who knows, that company that you're currently working with may not be around, and you could be looking for work. And then all of a sudden,
well, there's a burnt bridge.
He might want to get on the WWE because AEW probably won't be around then, if it ever happened. And then they're going to look back, well, all that shit you were talking, we don't got no spot for you.
Right.
Right. So basically, it's a big con for MJF.
And then if they would sign him, probably be a short-term contract. They'd probably job the shit out of him, make him do a bunch of bullshit stuff to Miz, like Miz go over on him like crazy, whatever.
Yeah.
Just bury MJF. So yeah, so it's like Punk has nothing to worry about. He has nothing to prove, really.
Right.
It's so, but once, like I said, if something ever happens to AEW, God forbid, and all these guys become out of work and they're looking for places to go,
I think it was more impactful, fan-wise, for MJF to mention Punk's failed UFC career than anything he did in WWE, because everyone knows WWE is a show and UFC is legitimate. It was, as much as I say MMA is a work, I'm obviously joking, but everyone knows that UFC is legit. So when you say something like that, that should have more impact than saying, "Oh, this other scripted wrestling thing is more important." I think the UFC comment kind of hit harder than anything else.
And currently, and speaking of the WWE bad chance, I have a couple other topics here that I have just sketched down here. Off the top is WWE's Tiffany Stratton. For those who don't know who she is, she performed on I guess it was 205 Live, though. They had her in.
I have
in
no
a
idea
match.
who she is, but
yeah, I seen her work like once or twice, this and that. But then they just recently had the promo of Daddy's Girl character, where she's on the tennis court and talking about how
Rich Girl is not the first thing I thought of when I heard Daddy's Girl.
Yeah,
and then I saw like they have like the opening of the vignette was just a big close up of her ass, which is beautiful. She got a gorgeous ass, but when I hear Daddy's Girl and I see this chick's hot ass, and I'm not like, oh, she must be rich.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it doesn't register.
Like, I'm
Rich
thinking,
Girl.
I'm thinking, isn't this PG now? Like, you can't do that.
What was that movie? Like, I guess they're trying to take the character away from like Mean Girls or whatever. Like that. Be like, a snobby rich girl, and and she's gonna get her ways because Daddy's gonna buy her ways and this that. And it seems like the WWE might be pulling away from that character already. Yeah,
they
exactly.
didn't even do it. She didn't even start
I know. It's funny.
I think she just. I know that the 205 thing. She just worked as herself. I think with no gimmick, right?
Yeah.
So that's weird.
Yeah, it's just like I guess because when they were trying to touch base with, especially with NXT being more like the kid friendly stuff, but then I guess whoever pitched this idea out there was like it's a little bit more than kid friendly, but but at the same time it's like, okay, I'm like, you don't have to make it sexual like that, but she can be like, just even like with the male competitors, when you have like the rich snobby brat like the Mean Street Posse.
Oh yeah.
They could still make it like that. She could be almost like a version of a Karen, a rich snobby Karen, and and they can still run with it, just tweak it a little bit, But at the same time, they're gonna make her like, I guess, Beverly Hills type rich snob though. But time will tell. We'll see if they what they come up with and going forth. And speaking of Daddy's Girls, Triple H. Him and Steph's, their oldest daughter, has been training.
Isn't she? She's like what, 11 or something like that, or 6?
No. She's
8?
the older one. They had 3 daughters.
Yeah, I think this one's 8 or something.
The two oldest, apparently the 2 oldest have interest in wrestling.
Right.
The oldest is training right now.
Training already, right?
But she put interest of telling her parents that not just wrestling, she wants to be the business, like as grandpa.
She wants to learn the business side. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. She wants to be the boss. Not
the Sasha Banks one, but the Vince McMahon one.
Yeah, exactly. Hands down. So you already see like between kids when they're growing up in the business, and when you got both parents, grandparents, and stuff like that, who's active. As far as that, they're obviously going to grow up around it, and they're going to take over, and eventually, she will be between Jess McMahon, Vince McMahon Senior, then Vince Jr., then Steph, Shane, Triple H, whatever. But speaking of Shane, we'll get to him. And then now these kids here, that's with this girl. If she comes up taking over the business, she'll be like about the 5th generation McMahon, right? Because like I said, there was Jason McMahon, right? And then there's Vince Sr., Vince Jr., then Vince's kids, and then this one here.
That's
But speaking of taking over and the kids, Shane McMahon has been spotted.
Shane O'Mac.
I wonder if his kids have any interest. Shane's kids have any interest. He's got 3 boys.
And they're older.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't doubt it. Maybe.
It's just never been mentioned before.
But Shane been always private a lot of times, and he's been active doing a bunch of other stuff beyond WWE. He always been
right.
But it looks like Vince is grooming Shane even more, even though Shane been a part of the business since X amount of years. He's grooming him to take over the main roster, it looks like, and to take leads. So we hands down already thought, hey, it's gonna go fall on Stephanie and Triple H, but Vince was like, hey, I think Shane doesn't have a how would I put it? He don't have a dominant perspective of what's going on the product, because when you look at it, Stephanie and Triple H are always involved,
right?
So they have more
insight.
Well, not more insight, more I'm trying to find the right word for it. But Shane's more
and
like
more vested interest.
Yes, more vested. Exactly. That's what I wanted to say. Shane, more or less, he has other stuff going on outside the business, where like he'll just straight run it as business, not as personal interest. Like you said, it'll just straight up be like, okay, you're playing favoritism to this town. No, it's all business for Shane, because he has,
right.
Because he's not going to put all his eggs in one basket, and he's going to see what works best for the business. And on one final note, for the kids out there, WWE has advertised they have an animated movie I believe it's going to be on the Paramount channel. I think, I'm not sure. It's called
Rumble, right?
Yeah, it's called Rumble. Exactly. I seen the trailer. It looks very entertaining.
It does. Looks really cool.
Roman Reigns, Becky Lynch are, I guess, said to add their voices to this as some of the characters, because they're apparently they're monster type characters that are performing against wrestling, and with some humans as well. But yeah, this looks very fun. This is like one of the first wrestling cartoons that I think I want to see.
It's about monsters wrestling.
Yes. but I'm saying, but when I say wrestling cartoons, like, how they kept coming out with the Scooby-Doo stuff with John.
Yeah. This is actually something completely different from that.
Yeah. Like I would have hoped, like, years ago, like how they had like Rock and Wrestling.
Yep.
I was hoping they would have came out with a new version, but like, with John Cena being the Hulk Hogan road that he is, have him start his own Rock and Wrestling, whether it be rap and wrestling or whatever they want to call it.
Yeah.
But they had that WWE Camp WWE that was on the network.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that flopped. that there was a total flop. And like I said, if they would,
it was a flop.
If WWE wants to go back to the old school ways, like as far as what they're doing with NXT, I would say they could have brought back that Saturday morning wrestling show with like some footage from house shows, like back in the day.
Oh man, I would love that.
Yeah,
that would be
amazing. That would be awesome.
Like the Saturday morning wrestling with the house show stuff, as well as with a Saturday morning cartoon. That's what's missing with this generation. Saturday morning wrestling, cartoons, Three Stooges, Chinese Kung Fu Theater, and all that stuff.
God, dude! I just
man,
I just found
took me right back to my childhood.
I just found the coolest thing about this Rumble movie. Tony Danza is in it.
Yes. That's
It's
one of the names
amazing.
I don't have it written down.
I just looked at. I'm looking at the cast. Will Arnett, Terry Crews, Geraldine Viss was somebody else. Joe Anawai, which is Roman Reigns, but he's credited as Joe Anawai. Tony Danza. It's just funny. Roman Reigns is credited as Joe Anawai, but Becky Lynch is credited as Becky Lynch, not Rebecca Quinn. Which is so weird. And Tony Danza. I am so happy that I had no idea. I'm so happy that Tony Danza is in this. I can't wait to see this just because of that now.
All right, gentlemen, you know what? We're already at the 2-hour mark.
Wow, man, this is great.
This was a great show, but I have to say, for what we touched upon, for next week, we will have we'll be talking predictions for NXT War Games. Next Sunday will happen on Peacock. So we will be giving our predictions for that event. And I believe
wait, next Sunday is the show? Is the War Games show?
NXT War Games.
I didn't even know that. I haven't watched NXT in months. I didn't even know.
And this coming Thursday, do I have it? Yeah, this coming Thursday, I believe our scheduled guest should be none other than Mr. Flex Willer.
Nice.
So tune in all the way from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. He will be on the show. So Thursday night at 9:05, tune in as we will be talking to Flex Willer. And next Sunday, we will be doing the NXT War Games predictions. And that's it. That's all I have for today.
By the way, that Rumble movie comes out in only 2 weeks. That's not
sweet.
It comes out it starts on a Wednesday, which means it's going to go head to head with AEW. I don't know. Oh. It's streaming. It's not the same thing, obviously. But yeah, it comes out Wednesday, December 15th. It's only 2 weeks and a couple days. So now I'm looking forward to it. I didn't care about it before, but I saw Tony Danza, and now I'm excited. Hey, he was the boss, eh?
Yeah. Too bad, Of course, I like Alyssa Milano, though. I had her poster in my locker.
Yeah. I have it in my head right now.
All right, everyone, thank you for tuning in. For more information about us here on Breakfast and BodySlams, Thursday Night Slam, or the Pop-Up Play Bombs, go straight over to BodySlamsPodcast.com, where you can like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that notification button, as you can watch all of our past videos on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, as well as you can
even have merchandise.
And don't forget about Instagram and Twitter. And we just put out 2 new T-shirts. If you go to our pod shop,
I love the OnlyFans one.
Yeah, we had 2 parodies, a Run DMC parody one, and an OnlyFans parody of T-shirts. So go to our pod shop, support us, and that's all I have for the bearded Raven, who is not here, because right now it's football time. The game's about starting right now for my birds. Go Birds! And for Mikey down below, the Saint Bernard, the better Bernard. For that image guy, Mr. AARP, the grumpy old vet, Joey Image at Joey Image TV on all social media. Follow him. I'm Chio Frost, and this is Breakfast and BodySlams, and we'll see yous at the matches. Peace out.